Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man. One look at his resume and the reason becomes clear. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transformation, transmutation, and self-awakening, he lives his bliss as a teacher, mentor, speaker, minister, and so much more. His mission is to live, move, and be an active, which is an acronym, authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, emancipate, awaken, and empower people and communities. Reverend Rev, there you go. You are welcome very much.
Good morning and greetings, everyone. So our topic for today, well, the topic for the month is the idea of the soul's call. What is the soul calling itself into greater expansive awareness of being? And specifically today, we're diving into this idea of pain. And what does it mean to be pushed by pain? And pain is one of those things like we really don't like. And in New Thought, we often bypass pain and deny pain. And we don't do what Dr. Ronnie led us in the pre-service meditation to be present to it and move through it so that it can be healed. But today, let's jump deeper in to what it means to be pushed by pain. Suppose we didn't deny or avoid pain, but rather embraced it as an invitation to higher consciousness, deeper love, and the opportunity to be more resolute to faith in action. I believe everything is as real as it is supposed to be. If a person hurts, they hurt. There is no use in denying it. There's no use in denying when we hurt. You have a toothache, you can say, I'm fine, I'm good, all you want, but it's still gonna hurt. So why deny it? Be present to it. Recognize it hurts. And if it hurts, what you are ultimately saying is, I ultimately want this pain to stop. I ultimately want to move through this. And it's important for us to understand what pain is then. So pain is a general term that describes some form of uncomfortable sensations in the body. It stems from the activation of the nervous system. Pain can range from being mildly annoying to excruciating and debilitating. It shows up in a variety of ways, and it's important for us to be aware that pain isn't just physical. Pain can show up and be experienced in a variety of ways. And it's important to recognize, it's important to accept, it's important to be present to all of the ways that it shows up. I mean, think about the number of people who feel a pain and they're like, yeah, I'm not going, I ain't going to the doctor. Nope. Why? Because we are afraid that if we go to the doctor and the doctor says, oh, well, this is the experience, we're like, darn it, I knew I shouldn't have gone. But not going doesn't change the fact that the pain is there. It doesn't change the fact that the pain is signaling that the doctor can do something to remedy what you're going through. But oftentimes what we do is we suppress it, we deny it, we denounce it without giving it the space to say, wait a minute, if there is pain, then the pain is saying something to me. It is indicating something to me. Let me be aware of the indication. In the same way that someone sends you an invitation. You don't say, oh, it's an invitation, and you throw it down. You're like, what am I being invited to? Am I being invited to a wedding? Am I being invited to a graduation? What is this invitation? If we give pain the space to be aware of what are we being invited to know about our experience, the world of our experience shifts. Science of Mind says we have within us a power that can overcome every obstacle in our experience and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new light and a new life. Every obstacle. Take that in. Every obstacle. Science of Mind also says every problem is primarily mental, and the answers to our problems will be found in spiritual realizations. Now, in order for us to really go where this is inviting us to go, one, do not assume that, it's just mental. It's all in your mind. That's only a small piece of the concept, right? So if you say, oh, well, racism, the pains of racism, it's all in your mind. Stop thinking about it and it disappears. No, it is a fact. What did Ernest Holmes say in that other slide? We do not deny that this, what is real is real. If someone hurts, they hurt. There is no point in denying it. But in order for us to transcend, transmute, transform the experience, we have to understand that everything begins in consciousness and go to the place of consciousness to transform it. Mind, or that which is mental, equals the total expression of your being and consciousness. So when we say thoughts, change your thinking, change your life, we're not just talking about what's going on in your brain, in your mind with just your thoughts. Change your thinking, in other words, change your mind, in other words, change your entire being. Change the entire consciousness of your being, and your life will change. Breathe that in. Ernest Holmes says in this thing called life, everything that is wrong in our experience, whether we call it pain, sickness, poverty, or unhappiness, is a denial of the allness of God. And breathe that in. So whatever it is, on some level, there is something that is blocking, something that is denying, something that is unaware of the allness of God. Because the moment our consciousness, our way of being, expands and opens to understand the allness of God, there is no space, therefore, to also be abundant and poverty-stricken. There is no space to be both someone who is a victim and that which is victorious. Now, you can be someone who is completely, absolutely an experience of health and well-being and have moments of experiencing illness, etc. But we know that that is not therefore the truth of our being. So we no longer feel the call to say, I am sick. I am, right? We understand that I am whole, perfect, and complete, even while experiencing the flu. I am whole, perfect, and complete, even while searching for, manifesting, creating, whatever words we're going to use, my next right and perfect career or job. I am whole, perfect, and complete, even while taking medication for this migraine that I'm experiencing, or the high blood pressure that I'm experiencing. I know that my wholeness, my perfection, and my completeness are the eternal truth of my being, and that this migraine, the flu, the joblessness, those are temporary, factual experiences that I choose, in aligning with the truth of my being, I must see them for what they are and move through it and acknowledge it, but understand that it's not the truth of my being. It's true that today is Monday. It's true that today is Wednesday. It's true that today is a holiday. Like, it's true whatever the day is. It's true that it's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's true that it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's true that, but understand that the truth of my being is infinite, eternal, and beyond time and space, even while being within the bracket of Sunday morning, Friday afternoon, 55 years old. When we acknowledge the allness of God, the expansiveness of creation moves in us, through us, and as us. So when we look around the world, we ask ourselves, what is the condition that we are seeking to shift and change? Because it's not just about I, me. It's about we. Why did Dr. Ronnie say in the opening invocation, envision yourself reaching out to the collective and giving a cyber hug, a virtual hug, a mental, spiritual hug to each other in the community? Because there is we. We are CSL Greater Baltimore. We are CSL. We are spirit showing itself in each individualized expression. So when we look at the world, when we look at how anyone in the world is experiencing what they're experiencing, our understanding is, what is the diagnosis? Oh, I see war, racism, colorism, xenophobia. Gotcha. Now, once you know the diagnosis, because this is what practitioners do, what is the thing that you seek treatment regarding? I seek it regarding dis-ease or illness. There is the diagnosis, the factual experience that you are experiencing. And then what? And then the practitioner grounds and anchors and understands there is nothing that needs to be healed, only truth to be revealed. So when we see racism, sexism, homophobia, when we see that as the diagnosis of the world, of the individual, what is the truth we are being invited to know about that pain? And in knowing the truth, what are we then called to do? So if we understand and recognize that the allness of God is love and life, is power and presence, then the truth means having and demonstrating the faith to move through, to be someone who is so at peace that when you see or hear of war or rumors of war, your mind immediately, your consciousness immediately, your being immediately grounds in peace, serenity, harmony, the isness and allness of God, and that vibration is what ripples out around the planet and beyond. There's no need for us to sit in and marinate in the, oh my God, it's so horrible. Give yourself a couple of days to marinate in that, but then recognize that what the world needs now is this truth. What the world needs now, as Jackie DeShannon says, love. The world has it because it's what God is. So we say, we sing, she sings. What the world needs now, what the world needs is to activate, to let this love be the thing that moves us forward. It's already present. It's in the air we breathe. Not just for some, but for everyone. The love is present because God is present. So what the world needs now, what our invitation to know is, know the truth. Move as the truth. Know it. Know the allness of God. Practice the allness of God and let that be the faith that moves us through whatever the painful experience is. Howard Thurman says, the ability to know what is right, the ability to know what is the right thing to do in any given circumstance is a sheer gift of God. To know what is the right thing to do, to know what is yours to do in any given situation is the gift that God is giving itself as you. So let's pause and look at our life, our circumstances. Where is there currently some feeling of pain, physical pain, emotional pain, financial pain? However we are referring to this thing called pain? Is there some sociological pain where we are empathic enough to feel the pain of people half a planet away? That we feel the pain of our transgender siblings who are being tortured and murdered at an alarming rate? That we feel the empathicness, the empathic cry of solidarity. So it may not be our physical pain, it may not be our emotional pain, but we are open enough to recognize that when anyone hurts, we all hurt. When anyone suffers, we all suffer. So pausing and listening, where is there a diagnosis of pain, disorder, dis-ease, anywhere in the body of God? And what is mine to do? What is the right thing for me to do regarding that? As I look around and I am able to identify, then you go to the doctors and they're like, on a pain scale, 10 being excruciating and you can't do anything, where do you feel the pain? Where do you feel the pain of racism? Where do you feel on the scale? Where do you feel the pain of homophobia and transphobia? Where do you feel the pain of what's going on in Palestine and Israel? Where do you feel the pain of oppression? The various massacres that are now starting to be recognized, such as Tulsa. Where do you feel the pain of the 215 Indigenous children's bodies found in Canada? Where do you feel? Do you feel no pain? Mild pain, severe pain. Where do you feel it? Because when you feel it, you are more inspired to alleviate it, to eliminate it, to heal it. And we breathe. We breathe and ground and anchor, because that's a lot to take in. But we also understand and recognize that some pain is desired. Some pain is wanted. Some pain is encouraged. Tracy would disagree.
Yes.
But when we go to the gym, there is a pain. If you study martial arts, there is a pain. If you study ballet, gymnastics, there is a pain that pushes you through the threshold from novice, beginner, to expert. Are we willing to step into and recognize of these various pains that I see, feel, experience? Which ones are the ones that are moving me from novice to expert? Which ones are the ones that are calling me to heal? Because we dare not say that racism is a necessary pain that is moving humanity to its next greater yet to be. Bullshit. Anyone that says that we need, that God needs to allow a part of itself to be massacred and murdered and oppressed so that God can evolve and elevate is spiritual bypass and malpractice. Why would God need to let God die so that God can be more of God? Humans who do not understand the allness of God are the ones who created racism, sexism, and homophobia. Humans who do not understand the spiritual laws and principles of love and light and power that we speak about and teach about. Humans who are accustomed to denying and being usurpers of power, not God. So on the grand scale of that which is the infinite I am, there is no need for God to say, or for God to show up as the Klan, the neo-Nazi, the terrorist, the microaggressions, the, oh girl, can I just touch your hair? There is no need for God to show up in that form for its own elevation and expansion. That's what people do. People who do not know, people who choose to bypass and deny the knowing. Because there are those who know that there are other options and they choose to ignore the other options. In the same way that there are those who have that toothache and refuse to go to the dentist. There are those who are racist and sexist, and they know, but they choose to maintain the status quo. Our call here in this moment is to serenity prayer, the prayer of knowing that which I can change, that which I can heal, that which is mine to do. I choose to do it. I choose to put my faith to work. There are those things that are not, it's not mine to do. And then there are those, how do I know the difference? What can I change? Change it. What can I not change? Surrender. How do I know the difference? Be present. I cannot force Tracy to work out. That is not mine to do. I can encourage her. That I can do. This I cannot. But if I get them mixed up, then I am now sticking my nose in business that is not mine to stick my nose in. At which point Tracy checks me. Dude, I will work out when I choose to work out, not when you choose to tell me to work out. Back off. Same spiritual practice in all things around the planet. How do we ground ourselves and know the difference? How do we step into the necessary pain? How do we engage in holy confrontations, knowing that there will be pain involved, there will be discomfort, and yet those holy conversations and those blessed boundaries are necessary parts of radical self-care and global transformation. Tracy Brown, our guest speaker from last week, said, pain can be your motivation for a breakdown, a breakup, or a breakthrough. What do you choose? Because each moment we get to choose. Because if we experience it, we experience it. That is a fact. But how we move through it is our choice. Toothache, I didn't choose. Dear God, give me a toothache today. If I have a toothache, then I have a toothache. I'm experiencing a toothache. Hey, don't mock me stuttering for a second, Tracy. If I have a toothache, I have a toothache. It is what it is. But what I choose to do about it, how do I choose to resolve it, is always my choice. Righteous judgment, that discernment. How do I discern and move forward with ease, grace, and the wisdom to be able to identify the pain? Because we cannot treat what we will not acknowledge. Identify, is it desired or undesired pain? What do I need to do to change it, alleviate it, eliminate it, transcend it? And then just do it. Do the practices that will bring truth to my experience and to the experience of all. Kenji Miyazawa says, we must embrace pain and burn it as fuel for our journey. Which reminds me of the Viktor Frankl quote, that which is to give light must endure burning. We must embrace the pain, be present to it, and allow its flames to burn, allow it to be the fuel that pushes us along our journey. Naval Ravikant, don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Naval Ravikant said, pain is a fact, suffering is a choice. Pain is a fact. Suffering is a choice. Racism is a fact. How we move through it, acknowledge it, and recognize that. Pause for a second. So Tracy and I just finished watching High on the Hog. I don't know if Fifi's online, but I know she watched it too because she posted on Facebook about it. And so here's this idea that people were taken from Africa, brought to the United States of America, forced to become the enslaved, because oftentimes what people say is they brought slaves from, people were brought, individuals were brought and made to be the enslaved. And even in the midst of that, High on the Hog talks about transcending cuisine and the idea of these people, the slaves, were given the throwaways. And what did they do? They elevated it. They made it something that became what we refer to as soul food. So the idea is things happen. Facts, pain happens. What do we do with it? Do we do what they chose to do? Do we get this pain? Do we get this oppression? Do we get this thing called poverty? The white supremacist, capitalistic, patriarchal delusion. Do we get it? And what we choose to do with it is transform it so that it is no more. Do we change it, eliminate it, alleviate the need to experience it? Is that what we do? Or do we say, it is what it is, it's what's always been, it's what always will be. This pain in my neck has always been, it will always be. The diabetes in my family has always been, it will always be. Or do we do what the invitation for today is? Do we allow the pain to push us into the next yet greater to be? Yeshua said, I came that you may have life and have it more abundantly. Do we let this pain inspire us to say, it hurts, and I want the hurt, I want the pain to stop? Then what am I invited to know? What truth am I invited to know? What aspect of the allness of God am I invited to embody and practice moment by moment? The Dalai Lama says, there is a saying in Tibetan, tragedy should be utilized as a source of strength. No matter what sort of difficulties, how painful the experience is, if we lose our hope, that is the real disaster. If we lose our ability to practice transcending, to practice truth, to practice the law of mind in action, if we lose our ability to practice it, that is the real disaster. So in this moment, we breathe and allow this to marinate and understand that we have a practice, we have a way of moving through this. We have a practice that helps us transcend, to be present to it, to acknowledge it, and to heal it. Marcus Aurelius says, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. You have the power to revoke it. You have the power to say, Satan, get thee behind me. Same thing Yeshua said in the desert. Look, dude, all these lies and stuff you are trying to convince me of, get thee behind me. Racism, get thee behind me. Become a thing of the past. I am not, as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, I am no longer being moved as the tail light. I move as the headlight. I allow the light of my being to move me forward, not move me backwards. I revoke the power of sexism, rape culture, trauma. I revoke its power to move as my truth, because it is not my truth. The allness of God is my truth. Whole, perfect, and complete is my truth. Chakras aligned is my truth. The infinite I am, as the incarnation of God itself, is my truth. And anything that is not my truth, get thee behind me. This week, our practice, as Tracy loves to call it, our homework. Journal and ask yourself, what pains in my life have I currently, or what pains in my life have I in the past, or what am I currently experiencing or witnessing in someone else's experience? So look at past. What have I experienced? What am I currently experiencing? Where am I able to witness in someone else's experience pain? And let me share just briefly. Someone messaged me on Facebook or Instagram, I don't remember, Facebook or Instagram, I don't remember which, and said, when did your mother die? Because I'm tired of seeing posts about it. Say what now? Says, whoa. As we approach the 1 year anniversary of my mother's transition, say what now? You're tired of me expressing my ability to move through my grief. You're tired. You do know where the unfriend button section option is. So we pause and we breathe, because there are those who will not understand our healing. There are those who will not understand our processes. There are those who will not understand this adventure, this journey, this divine presence that we are. And they will try to back up. Tail lights. Back up. Suffer. Back up. Status quo. Back up. Business as usual. And we get to revoke. Get thee behind me. Number 2. What am I invited to learn about the various pains? What am I being invited to put into practice that I may eliminate or alleviate the pain that I experience or that I am witnessing in another's experience? What is my invitation about this? Am I invited to pray? Am I invited to meditate? Am I invited to be present? Am I invited to cry? Am I invited to take a workshop on what it means, this lie of whiteness that Dr. David Alexander is presenting? Am I invited to read the book, My Grandmother's Hands? What am I invited to know or do about? Am I invited to learn more about the LGBTQ community and the oppression and this horrendous thing called conversion therapy? What am I invited to know, learn, and do? And lastly, whether you create a listening circle or this thing called a human library, create a space where you and someone else, could be a group of people, but you and another share. Meaning, Tracy and I are engaging in this practice, and I simply listen as she shares something from her experience where she feels or has felt or has witnessed pain. And I simply am present to letting her express it. I don't need to try to resolve it. I don't need to try to fix it. I simply let her speak her truth, the truth of her experience, the truth of what she feels in heart, body, mind, spirit. What is, just receive it. And if she wants to engage conversation, then at the end of this, then we can converse about it. But in the beginning, during this practice, simply listen and be present as the person shares. Because we often don't want to listen. Not when it's painful, because it makes us uncomfortable. Reverend Ray's grieving about his mother's transition last year. It makes me uncomfortable. So I want to fix it. I want to shut him up rather than being present. Our declaration and affirmation for this week is, I will say it first and then together. I transform pain into fertilizer for my next greater success. Together, I transform pain into fertilizer for my next greater success. And so now we ground and we anchor, recognizing that the isness and allness of spirit, the isness and allness of God is all there is. And so right here in this moment, all of God is breathing itself as each one of us. All of God is loving itself as each one of us. In this moment, all of God is being an awesome God in, through, and as each one of us. And as we anchor to that allness of God showing itself as these incarnations that we call our lives, then we move forward, we transcend, we transform the very fabric of creation, recognizing and demonstrating love, joy, harmony, and a world that works for all. Knowing this, I surrendered into the law of mind and action that receives, accepts, and acts accordingly. And knowing that this word is already answered prayer, together I ask us to touch and agree and say, Aho, Amen, Ashe. And so it is. Love you. Blessings. Have an amazing day.